Welcome back to Shiny Grades Online School. Today, I'll be taking you through Grade 9, Integrated Science, Paper 1, Section A and B. Please, if you are new to this channel, find your time to subscribe to our YouTube channel and as well share this video to reach as many learners as possible. Welcome. Question number 1. The kidney is a very important part of the excretory system. Its main function is to filter blood and remove waste materials. Urine is the main waste material excreted by the kidney. Which one of the following is not a component of urine? We have urea, we have salts, we have sweat, and we also have excess water. So learners, some of the components of urine, we have excess water, we also have excess salts, and we also have urea as the components or the component of urine. So learners, we have sweat, which is a waste material that is excreted through the skin. So sweat is not one of the components of urine. So the correct answer is C. Question number 2. While cleaning the laboratory, a grade 7 learner came across the apparatus shown below. Which apparatus is called a dropper? We have A. Learners, A is what we call a Bunsen burner. A Bunsen burner is one of the apparatus that is used in heating substances in the laboratory. We have B. Learners, B is what we call a dropper, used for dropping and for lower or releasing liquids while performing experiments. B or C is what we call this gas jar. It's a gas jar. And we have D, which is a boiling tube. So learners, the correct answer to this question is B for the dropper. Question 3. Every element has a unique symbol used for identification. Identify the element that has been correctly matched with its symbol. We have sodium, Na. We have sulfur, Si. We have silicon, S. Potassium, Po. Learners, sodium is given its symbol from the first 2 letters of its Latin name, natrium. Sulfur, we always use the first letter of its English name, S. Silicon, we always use the first and the second letter, S and I. Potassium, we use the first letter of its Latin name, kalium. And therefore, learners, the correctly matched element is A, sodium, for Na. Question number 4. Study the table below and identify the physical change. In adolescence, that has been correctly matched with the gender. We have change and where it occurs. Hips broadening is a change that occurs in girls. Voice becoming softer is a change that occurs in girls. Menstruation beginning is a change that occurs in girls. And experiencing wet dreams is a change that occurs in boys. So learners, correctly matched change is voice becoming softer, a change that occurs in girls. Question number 5. Question number 5. Question number 5. We have when preparing an experiment for observation under a microscope, staining is important. What is the importance of staining the experiment of the specimen? Learner, staining is the process of adding a colored substance or a dye on the specimen to make it a bit more visible or more detailed in terms of seeing the parts and the components of a particular specimen. So why do we have to do staining? We have A, to make the specimen more beautiful. That is not the case. We have B, to increase turgidity. That's not the case. We have C, to prevent distortion of cells. That's not the case. Correct answer to this question is to increase visibility or to make this specimen to be more visible. So learners, correct answer to question number 5 is D, to increase visibility. Question number 6. Question number 6. Question number 6. We have during a practical lesson, a grade 8 learner used the circuit shown below to test the conductivity of a metal. You can see the setup. We have the connecting wire. We have the bulbs. This is a bulb and this one is also a bulb. And we also have the dry cells. And we have the switch. It's a simple circuit. Identify the type of bulb arrangement used. So you can see we have a bulb connected to another bulb in such a way that if I switch off one of them, the other bulb will also go off. So the type of arrangement for these bulbs is what we call a series arrangement of bulbs. The opposite is parallel, whereby when one bulb is switched off, then the other bulb or the other bulbs remain on. So correct answer is B. Question number 7. Question number 7. A grade 8 learner saw the symbols below on a fire extinguishers. You can see the first one with pieces of firewood. Pieces of firewood. We also have the second one with the liquid burning. Might be a flammable liquid. And we also have the third one with a cooking pan. You can see a cooking pan. You can see a cooking pan, an indication that cooking oil is burning. And we also have a sign of electric shock or electric fault that can also be found on a fire extinguisher. So which class of fire extinguisher is used to put out electrical fires? So from what we are given, we can see that out of the 4, the one that represents electrical extinguisher is D. So learners, correct answer to this question is D for the simple or D. Moving to the next question 8. Integrated science has several components. Which one of the following is not a component of integrated science? We have agriculture, biology, physics, and chemistry. Some of the components, the main components of integrated science, we have biology, physics, and chemistry. So the odd one out to this in this list is agriculture. Agriculture is not a component of integrated science. Question 9. Identify the danger that may cause loss of hearing and can be reduced by the use of ear muffs. Bright light, that's a danger that is caused by light, extreme light, very strong light, collisions, not one of them, road accidents, loud noise. So for you to wear earmuffs means that you have been affected, your ears have been affected. So for you to improve the hearing capability, you have to wear ear muffs. So the correct answer is loud noise. Loud noise. Question 10. Carbon is an element found in the periodic table. It has 6 protons and 6 electrons. What is the mass number of carbon? 6 protons and 6 electrons. You need to understand that for us to get the mass number, for us to be able to obtain the mass number, we need to take the sum of protons and neutrons. And from our question, we only provided with protons and electrons. There's no way we can obtain neutrons, so there was a mistake to this question. So the assumption is that the neutrons were also 6. So these were neutrons. So the assumption is that these were neutrons. So the mass number would be 6 plus 6, which gives us 12. So correct answer is B. Moving to the next question, question 11. A grade 8 learner listed the components of a fire triangle. Which arrangement is correct? We have hydrogen, fire, and light, oxygen, fuel, and carbon dioxide, oxygen, hydrogen, and heat, oxygen, fuel, and heat. We need to understand that some of the components of the fire triangle, we have heat, we have fuel, and we also have oxygen as some of the components of fire triangle. So correctly written or arranged list is D, oxygen, fuel, and heat. Question 12. An atom has an electron arrangement of 282. What is the name of the elements? Learners, from the list of the first 20 elements, we understand that elements are arranged based on the number of protons that they have. And their positions in the periodic table is based on the number of protons that they have. From the first one, hydrogen, to the 20th one, calcium, to the 20th one, calcium. So we have the one with 282, meaning 2 electrons, 8, 2 electrons the first energy level, 8 in the second energy level, 2 in the outermost energy level. So when you take the sum of these electrons, you'll be able to get 12 electrons. These 12 electrons is equal to the number of protons of magnesium. Magnesium being in position number 12 in the periodic table, or among the first 20 electrons. The correct element which is represented by this arrangement 2H2 is magnesium. Aluminium is position 13. We have silicon, which is 14. Barium, which is not among the first 20 in the periodic table. So correctly matched element is magnesium. Question 13. The picture below shows a common source of electricity in ohms. What is the name of the power source? What's the name of the power source? We have wind power. So learners, before I proceed, we need to understand that we do not have the picture. So it's very impossible for us to answer this question. So there was typing error, and therefore they were not able to capture the picture to this question. So we would not be in a position to answer the question. Question 14. After use, a microscope should be covered before storage. What is the importance of covering the microscope? To prevent dust, to prevent moisture, to avoid falling, and to keep away from pests. The main reason as to why we cover a microscope is to prevent dust. To prevent dust, which may block the lenses and also other parts of the microscope. So the reason as why we have to cover it is to prevent entry of dust. Question 15. Measurements in science are standardized. Which of the following is not a derived quantity? We have some of the examples of derived quantities. We know we have two types of quantities. We have the basic and the derived. Derived are those that we derive from the basic quantities. So area, it is derived. We have density, which is also derived quantity. Temperature, which is basic quantity. And we have pressure. Again, pressure is given by force over area, and therefore this one is a derived quantity. Derived quantity. So correctly, the one which is not a derived quantity, learners, is C, temperature. Question 16. Which part of the female reproductive system nourishes and supports the development of fetus? We have the fallopian tube. We also have uterus. We have uterus and ovary and also cervix. Learners, the one that nourishes. To nourish is to allow supply of nutrients to the developing zygote. So uterus is the one that has the endometrium that allows the supply of nutrients to the zygote. So the correct answer is uterus. Ovary, just to release the egg. Cervix prevents entry of materials on anything that is not supposed to get into the uterus during pregnancy. That's the work of the cervix. Then we have the cell membrane selectively. Question 17, the cell membrane selectively allows substances in and out of the cell, which is not a property of the cell membrane. Some of the properties of the cell membrane we need the cell being permeable, polarity, they possess electric charges, and they also are sensitive to changes in pH and temperature. So we have they are semi-permeable, correct, sensitive to pH and temperature change, and polarized. So affected by surface area to volume ratio, that's not one of the property of the cell membrane. Question 18. Electric motors and generators use magnets. Identify another device that uses magnets. We have washing machines, we have iron sheets, electrical cables, and we have bulbs. Washing machines are the device, as another device that use magnets. Washing machine, because of the motor, they have a motor that moves around. So for that motor to move around, there is a magnet in between the copper wires to allow the movement of, or the rotating movement of the motor. So the correct answer to this question is washing machines. Question 19. Question 19. Osmosis is important in plants. Which one is not an importance of osmosis? Some of the importances of osmosis, it will allow to bring about rigidity in plants, bring about support. It will also enable opening and closing of stomata. We have osmoregulation. Osmoregulation, this is balancing of salt and water in animals. It's another importance of osmosis. We also have opening and closing of stomata. I said, remember, leads to open or to close. We have guard cells that they gain water, they bulge, enabling opening and closing of the stomata. And we are feeding of insectivorous plants that I had explained initially, that it's common in those plants that feed on insects, and their leaves become turgid and they are sensitive to anything when it lands on their surface, and therefore they end up blocking and trapping insects within them and releasing chemicals and enzymes to digest them. So in these particular list learners, all the answers were correct. So there was a typing error. There was no reason why we can say that we have any importance that is not part of osmosis in this list. Question number 20. Which situation demonstrates high pressure? Which situation demonstrates high pressure? We have a knife, a sharp knife cutting through meat, a wide paddle boat moving on water, a snowshoe on soft snow, a flat shoe on the ground. So when you talk about high pressure, the surface area is always very small. When you look at answer D, the surface is very wide or broad. Snowshoe, the surface is always very broad. A wide paddle, wide, very wide, meaning the surface area is very small. So a sharp knife, the surface area is very small, and therefore high pressure is going to be exerted on the surface where the knife is used. So correct answer is A. Question 21. Study the diagram below and identify the part marked X. This is a section of human skin. And some of the parts we have the air. We have the epidermis, the first layer of the mammalian skin. And we have other parts. We have the hair follicle. And remember, this is found in this layer that we call the dermis. And in the dermis, we have several parts. We also have the sebaceous gland. We have the sebaceous gland. And we also have the subcutaneous fat layer. And other many parts. We also have blood vessels. So from the question that we have, part X is air. Question 22. Which part of the microscope concentrates light onto the specimen? Which part of the microscope concentrates light onto the specimen? The part that concentrates light on the specimen is the condenser through the diaphragm. Diaphragm, it controls the amount of light passing through the condenser to the stage. The fine adjustment knob moves the body tube up and down for short distances to bring the image to sharp focus. Aperture is for viewing. So learners, the correct answer to this question is D, condenser. Question 23. Question 23. A television uses a battery to display pictures and produces sound. Identify the correct energy transformation. We have energy transformation from one form of energy to another. So the battery, remember that a television uses a battery. Television uses a battery. So in this case, battery chemical. This chemical energy proceeds to electrical energy, to sound, and then to light, and then to sound energy. So that is that energy transformation from chemical, from the cells of the battery, to electrical, to light, and then it produces sound. So the correct energy transformation is C. Question 24. Where are sperms produced in the male reproductive system? Sperms, learners, are produced by the testes in the male reproductive system. Prostate glands producing an alkaline substance that is useful during the sexual intercourse. We also have urethra that we say is urinogenital. It's used for urinating and also allowing passage of urine, and again it also allows the passage of sperms during coitus. Epididymis for temporary storage of, or for storage of sperms once they are produced by the testes. Question 25. The laboratory sample shown below represents, we have corrosive, radioactive, flammable, and carcinogenic. So this is a radioactive sample, represents radioactive substances. Question 26. A state of matter has no fixed shape and particles are far apart. Identify the state has no fixed shape and particles are far apart. Definitely, learners, without much discussion, understand that gases, their particles are always far apart from each other, and they always do not have a fixed or definite shape. So correct answer is B. Identify the part of the microscope that concentrates light from the mirror. Concentrating light from the mirror, we have talked about it. Learners, the part of the microscope that concentrates light on the mirror is the condenser. We have talked about it. What is the name given to the part labeled Y, L respectively? Learners, this is the structure of the atom. These are the energy levels. It is an energy level. This is another energy level. We have the nucleus. We have electron. We have electron. So from the question that we are given, Y represents the energy level and L represents electrons. So we have energy levels and electrons. So the correct answer is C. Moving to the next question, 29. Which material is attracted by a magnet? We have aluminium, iron nails, glass door, and copper coins. We understand that aluminium is not always attracted by a magnet. Copper the same is not attracted. A glass is not attracted. So correct answer is B, iron nails. Question 30. Tomatoes in the school farm are performing poorly even after adding fertilizer. The soil pH is suspected. What should be done? So the tomatoes in the farm are performing poorly. So check the soil pH of the soil, and from there appropriate actions or steps are taken to ensure the pH is either lowered or raised according to the requirements of the tomatoes. So let's move to section B of this paper. Section B, 40 marks, question 31. Name two careers related to integrated science. So we have several careers that are related to integrated science. One can be a lab technician. One can be a biologist. One can be a chemist. A chemist can be a physicist. A physicist can be an environmentalist, and more other careers related to integrated science. Can also be a science teacher and more other careers. State two laboratory safety rules that one should take care of. We have, you should wear lab coats while in the lab. Wear lab coats or protective clothing while in the lab. You should handle chemicals carefully. Handle chemicals carefully. Handle chemicals carefully. We also have, you have to tie your long hair. In case you have a long hair, you should use appropriate equipment. You should also avoid eating or drinking anything in the lab. So some of the safety rules in the laboratory. Question 31, section C. Using the microscope image provided, identify part C. Learners, this is a plant cell, and we have some of the parts being labeled. So from outside, we have the cell wall. Then we have the cell membrane. We have the cell membrane. Then we have the nucleus. Then we have one of the organelles that we call the chloroplast. Then we have the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm. We also have the tonoplast. We have the tonoplast. And then we have the vacuole, the subvacuole. We have the vacuole. So we identify part C. Part C is the cytoplasm. Part C is the cytoplasm. Part C is the cytoplasm. State the function of part labeled B. B, learners, is the nucleus. B is the nucleus, and the main function of the nucleus, it controls all the functions. It controls all the functions of the cell. So it controls all the functions of the cell. The main function of the nucleus. Question next. Complete the table below. We have the common laboratory accident and the cause of that particular accident. The cause of that particular accident. So we have burns. Burns is caused by handling hot equipment. Could be caused by uh, handling, hot equipment. It can also be caused by chemicals. Burns can also be caused by chemicals. Electric shock is caused by faulty wiring. It can also be caused by wet hands. So the main one is faulty electric equipment or cables or open switches. Falls can be caused by slippery floor. Slippery floor. It can also be caused by tripping over objects, another cause. Moving to the next question. Question number 33. Identify the scientific skill demonstrated by measuring length and width to calculate area. So when you measure width or length, you obtain what we call the measurement skill or practical skill. So we have obtaining of measuring skill, watering, weeding crops. Can talk of a skill like when you water crops, can do an observation or practical skill here you obtain observation skill or practical skill. Question 34. Identify the kidney parts labeled 2 and 3. So this is a diagram that represents a kidney. So we have a left kidney. We have the ureter, which is both on both sides of the kidney. We have what we call the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder, and we have the urethra, and we have the right kidney. We have the right kidney, and we have the blood vessels. These are the blood vessels that supplies blood and takes blood away from the kidneys. So the question says we label 2 and 3. So we have 2. 2 is the left kidney. 2 is the left kidney. 3 is the urinary bladder. Is the urinary bladder. Question next, question 35. State the function of the epidermis. Epidermis is one part that is common in almost all the living cells or tissues. Its main function, the main function of epidermis is protection. It protects the underlying tissues from mechanical damage. Protects the underlying tissues from maybe loss. We have protection from mechanical damage, from pathogens entry, and supports also the skin structure in case of the skin. It also prevents water loss. All those are the functions of the epidermis. It is basically for protection of the underlying tissues. Question 36. State 2 functions of the female reproductive system. Two functions of the female reproductive system. So we have several parts. Produces eggs, so we have producing of ova or the gametes, supports also menstruation. We have production of ovum, that is for the ovary, and it also supports menstruation and also pregnancy. It also supports pregnancy. Question next. State two challenges associated with menstruation. Two challenges associated with menstruation. We have menstrual pain or cramps. Menstrual pain, or what we call the cramps, or the cramps. We also have irritation and discomfort, embarrassment. We have irritation, and discomfort. And we also have our mood swing, fatigue, infection risk, and so forth. Question 37. Identify the physiological process investigated below. We have a certain liquid, then using a dropper, a reddish liquid is poured into the initial liquid in a beaker. Then we can see at the end the whole liquid changes to red. So what has actually happened here? The liquid molecules just diffused to all the corners of this liquid from the initial point where the concentration of the colored red liquid is poured until the liquid completely changes color to red. And therefore, this process whereby molecules or particles move from a region of high to low, not necessarily passing through a semi-permeable membrane, is what we call a diffusion. So the process is diffusion. The process is diffusion. State two factors affecting the process. Diffusion is affected by several factors. Temperature being one of them. Temperature being one of them. Increase in temperature increasing the kinetic energy, making the particles to move a bit faster. We also have the size of the particles. Size of the particles. We also have concentration gradient that also affects the process of diffusion. Conductor, define conductor. Conductor is a substance or material that allows electric current or heat to pass through. Is a substance that allows it to pass through them. To pass through them. That's what you call conductor. That's conductor. Non-conductors is the opposite. Substances that does not allow it to pass through them is a substance that does not allow it to pass through them. to pass through them. We have part B of this question. State two electrical safety measures. What are some of the electrical safety measures? So we have some of the electrical safety measures. Question 38. What are we supposed to do? Do not touch live wires. Do not touch live wires. Another safety measure is follow laboratory rules. You can also use insulated equipment while operating live electrical wires. Question 39. Yusuf conducted the experiment shown below while separating a mixture. Name the separating technique. So this technique whereby we are using this apparatus that we call a filter funnel. So it means that we are separating a solid and a liquid which are immiscible. So this method is what we call filtration. This method we call filtration. B. What is the name of the solid that remains at part Y? The solid that remains at part Y. You can see part Y where it is. So the solid that remains at that part is what we call a residue. We call it a residue. Question next, question 40. Define an atom. An atom is the smallest part of an element that can take part in a chemical reaction. That can take part in a chemical reaction. Smallest part of an element that can take part in a chemical reaction. Question 40. Calculate the atomic number of an element with mass number 16 and 10 neutrons. We're looking at the atomic number. Atomic number, we need to understand that atomic number is the number of protons. So with the mass number as 16 and neutrons as 10, we need to understand that mass number is given by protons plus neutrons. So 16 is equals to protons that we do not have and neutrons which are 10. So protons will be 16 minus 10. So protons is equals to 6. So atomic number, our atomic number is 6. Our atomic number is 6. Identify the substance shown by particle arrangement. So we have this substance, this particle here. This particle, by the way the atoms are closely packed together, they are arranged. The substance is a solid. The particles are closely packed together. State one characteristic of the substance. They have a definite or fixed shape, and they also have a fixed mass and volume. Are some of the characteristics of the substance. 42. Explain the energy transformation when a car slows down. The energy transformation when a car slows down, we have kinetic to sound. It may be kinetic because it was in motion, and then to sound. This sound may, or if there is no sound, may also have the potential energy being expressed, and then we may have the heat because of the breaking, heat energy because of the breaking and the friction that is experienced. Explain how magnets can reduce environmental pollution. So how can magnets can remove metal particles from water, so we can have helps to remove metal particles from water. Metals, when they are passed when water is passed through filters which are fitted with magnets, so we can say filters fitted with magnets helps to eliminate metallic or magnetic materials from the water. Question 44. Identify parts X and Y. Again, we have structure of an atom, whereby you can see this is the second energy level. This is the first energy level, and then we have the nucleus, where we have the two subatomic particles, protons and neutrons. So to the questions, we are being told X, we name X and Y. So our X is our nucleus, and our Y is our energy level. So learners, we can notice kind of repetition of energy level, this paper. So we have repetition, nucleus, you have energy level. So part B, state the subatomic particles found in X. X, or in the nucleus, the subatomic particles which are found there, we already said that we have the protons and the neutrons. the neutrons. Question 45, state the use of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride used as a food additive to add flavor. We also have gold used to make ornaments or jewelry. And element P, question 46, as atomic number 7, write its electronic configuration. The atomic number means the number of protons, which is 7. Number of protons is always equal to the electrons. So the configuration is 2 is to 5 or 2, 5. The arrangement. 47, identify the process investigated. Identify the process investigated. We have a water tank, and then we have water. This is pressure in liquids. Process is pressure in liquids, whereby you can see the bottommost pole is able to throw water to the farthest as compared to the topmost, nearest. So this one investigates pressure in liquids. Define pressure. Pressure, we refer to pressure as the force applied on a surface per unit area. Is the force applied on a surface per unit area. Question 48. What observation is expected when two magnets are brought close? A north pole and a south pole. The expectation is that the two attracts each other, because these are unlike terms. Unlike terms, and we know unlike terms attracts. Unlike terms attracts. Question 49. Explain why pointed shoes exert higher pressure than flat shoes. Pointed shoes have a small or a smaller surface area compared to the weight. Compared to the weight of the person, and hence higher pressure is exerted. Question 50. Complete the table showing results of an acid-base test. We have indicator, base, and acid. Litmus paper in base is blue. In acid, litmus paper is red in color. Methyl orange in base is yellow. And in acid is pink. So learners, this marks the end of our presentation today. If you found the video useful to you, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, Shiny Creates Online School. Comment your reactions, and as well share this video to your friends so that many learners benefit from this content. Thank you for watching. Let's meet in our next episode.